Hi, and welcome to Arley Farm. Now, the reason we're on this farm today, if you've watched Fury Machine Gaming's latest video, he's already told you that I've passed this farm on to him, and I don't exactly know how he's going to do the story mode, whether he's going to inherit the farm off me or whether he's going to buy it off me with all the equipment on board still and everything. I did say to him as a joke that if he inherits it off me, I hope I don't die a really painful, awful death. So hopefully, if he does it the inheritance route, I die peacefully in my sleep or something like that. But I thought, because what he's going to do is he's going to continue playing on from my game save here, and I'm not giving up on this game save. Okay, I still enjoy this farm, so I'll still be playing it from time to time as well. But the idea is he was planning on doing a bit of a story, a set of videos on this farm anyway. So I said to him, hey, if you want, I'll send you my version of it. You can carry it on in the way you see fit and the way you're going to make the farm go into the future. And he thought that was a really great idea, so he said yes please. So I sent him the save game file and also all the mod folder that you need for it. And to be perfectly honest, I'd do that for anyone as well. So if any of my other viewers want a game save file or the mod folder from any of my game saves so that you can play on my farm using my stuff and carry it on the story, just yell out and I'll do that. I would recommend that you don't ask for the Bell and Craig one unless you really love that map. And the only reason I'm suggesting that is that map is full of errors. One of the main ones is every night when it gets to midnight the game crashes, so sometimes you have to save, basically save just before midnight, save at say 11:58 or something, then it might take you 2 or 3 loads to get through midnight successfully. So after you've saved, you'll play and it'll crash at midnight, then you load it up again, start off from 11:58 again, and you have to go through 2 or 3 times to skip to the next day kind of thing. That's probably the biggest problem with the map. And there's also problems with fertilising the fields and things, so you'd have to really love the Bell and Craig map to want to play that one. But if you wanted this farm, Arley Farm, or Belly Spring map, I've got a good save of that as well. In actual fact, my Belly Spring one is a lot further from, I've done a lot more work on that map than I have on this one. But what I thought I'd do, and I'm really looking forward, Fury hasn't told me what he's going to do with this farm going forward, so I don't know whether it's going to continue to be a dairy focused farm or whether he's going to move it away from the dairy focus and go in a different area, maybe forestry, maybe doing crops, whatever. He's more than welcome to do whatever he wants. But I thought that maybe we'd go for a bit of a drive around the farm. And I've got to be honest, some of this might be wasted already because I don't even know if he's recorded his first video on it yet. But if he hasn't, this video might help him with a couple of tips on where I've put things. But apart from that, it's just going to show you what I was planning on doing in the future on this map, and I'll continue doing it anyway. But this isn't what Fury's going to do, because he's going to do whatever he wants. So the first thing is, he'll probably discover that I've got an animal cane, and it's strapped on the back of this truck here at the moment, right there. So if you're looking for Fury, that's where the animal cane is. Okay, we'll go for a bit of a drive, and I'll just show you a few things about the map as we go, and I'll also show you my plans for the future for the map. Now, while we're here, we'll just go and have a look at the money. One thing I warned Fury is I couldn't remember exactly where I was up to when I last played this map. I said to him, I think the loan's just about paid off, so you might want to go into the XML and just give yourself a lot more debt again, so you've got something to work towards. So I noticed I have actually paid off the loan in full. So after this video, I'll probably go in here and give myself either a $100,000 or $200,000 overdraft again. Okay, because I prefer playing when I'm in debt and trying to work my way out. Now we'll just jump in this and go for a bit of a drive so I can show you some things. We're obviously not going to take the MX-5 out at the moment because it's snowing out, or it has been snowing, there's still snow on the ground. Now those MX-5s, the floor of them is double skinned. So not really in New Zealand, because we don't get a lot of snow in most of New Zealand, certainly not in the area where I live, but overseas where you do get a lot of snow, those MX-5s have a bit of a reputation for being rust traps, because what happens is the inside floor that you can't see rusts out, so you've got all this rusting away on you, and you don't do anything about it because you don't even know it's there. So yeah, they have a bit of a reputation in colder climates where it does snow for being rust traps. So we won't take the MX-5 out in the snow today, but we're just going to go for a wee bit of a drive just so I can show you a few bits and pieces on the map. And as I said, some of the things I show you might be helpful to Fury when he goes to start it, but if he's already made his first video or whatever, perhaps he's already found these things out. So down at the shop here, I have a forklift. Now, although I have to own that forklift in order for it to be in the game, I'm treating it as not mine but belongs to the shop. I've actually probably got the wrong forklift there. I put this one in because I've never ever used it before, and I've discovered this one here is actually quite tricky to use, so I might sell that one and buy a different one for the shop to have. But yeah, the shop has a forklift there. Now if we head back towards the farm again, and I've got time to do this because it's winter. The only thing I've got to do this game day is feed the cows, so I've got plenty of spare time to go for a bit of a wander and show off some things, etc. So down, where is it? Now this paddock that's on the corner here, right here, I used to own that, and I had greenhouses on there. I've sold all those and sold that paddock, so that was done some time ago. Down here, if he goes in to have a look at what vehicles I own in the game, he'll notice that I've got a Nissan Laurel, and he'll probably think, where is that? It's right here. So the reason I put it there is the original version of this map, when it came out, had a car wreck on the side of the road there. So I wanted to put this one here so it looked like a car that had been stolen and dumped and burnt out when it was dumped, probably to get rid of all the fingerprints or anything. But if it gets in the way too much there, I mean, I did put it far enough in that you can get a truck past it and things, but if you find it annoying having it there or anything, feel free to just sell it. You don't have to have it there. I have it there because that was one of the little features on the original version of this map that I really liked, so I wanted to have that feature again on this version of it. But again, I treat that car as not mine, even though technically I own it in the game, I treat it as not being mine. Now if we come along here further, back towards the farm. This is actually the smallest farm I've got of any of my game saves. This farm is absolutely tiny at the moment, and that's fine. Well, he'll see my yard there, so hang on, if we just back up for a second. I should have shown this. So how this here is designed is so you can open this gate here and back the truck in. Now the blue truck, you can put a stock back on, and you make a stock back by putting the grain back on and then throwing the animal cane in the back of it. Okay, you can back that truck up to here to load your calves out of these pens. So this is like a stock sorting yard here. You can put the animals into here, and then they go onto the back of the truck from here, and the truck goes back to the gate to get to. So that's the New Zealand style way of doing things like that. So the blue Bedford truck you could use for carrying stock, and in fact I noticed when I loaded this game that we're due for calves in just 1 month's time. So all my cows are at 90% at the moment. Okay, so you will have some calves very, very soon, like the next day. It's 1 day, 1 day months. So tomorrow, which will also be next month, you'll have a bunch of calves. I think you'll get about 75 of them, so I think from memory I've got 75 cows on this farm. You can do what you want with those. Sell them, keep them, whatever. Okay, now I always loved this paddock. I love the fancy looking gate there, but I thought that fancy gate looks like it goes into something far fancier than just a paddock. So I decided that the way I set up this map, I treated this as all that's left of the old homestead, the old stone homestead. Okay, and so this paddock used to be like the house paddock. You drive in here to get to the big homestead, and as you can see there's hardly anything left of it there. And I've put some, if you go into if we go in somewhere for a second to, these are mods I own. If you go down to here and go into miscellaneous, you'll see a whole lot of stones there. Okay, so what those stones are for is I've got them spread both inside the house ruins in here, but also, you can't really see them in the snow, also out here in the grass. So if you're mowing this field, you've got to give this the old house ruins, you can see some of the stones right there, a wide berth, because otherwise you're going to hit some of those stones with your mower and they'll lick your mower blade. So you have to give that a wide berth. But of course, if we go to the map, so this is paddock 31 that we're at. So let's go back to there. So you can see, oh, my arrow's a wee bit in the way. So I put all that in, but if you wanted to, you could take the old house ruins out, take all the stones out, and plough through there, so that you turn this whole paddock back into a straight line along there. But I liked having something to mow around, and as I say, I liked having the old house ruins there. So that's what I've got there. Feel free to get rid of it if you want to. It does kind of add a wee bit of something different to that paddock, because you have to mow around. You can see when I'll move along a wee bit further so you can see it better. But you can see there that where you've got to mow around the house ruins. I just enjoyed that bit, so I kept it like that. Now, if we go along a wee bit further, so this paddock and the one next to it, the one that we're coming up to on the left now, are the two that I was mowing for grass and things. And I suppose the next big expansion that I had planned for my farm, because it is a very tiny farm, okay, at some point I'm going to buy this house up here. I don't think you can actually buy the house itself, but I'm going to treat it as mine, whereas at the moment I don't. And this will be the house for the farmhand to live at. And then this paddock, this paddock on the right hand side of this farmhouse, which is a pretty big paddock, this one. I'll probably buy that one as my next farm expansion. So that would be paddock 14. You can see there that there's a very, very big paddock, that paddock 14. I've mown that a couple of times already with contracts, and yeah, really love doing that paddock, because there's lots of trees and things go around. Well, the other thing, Fury, is if you try and tab into any vehicles, you notice you can't when you first load the game. And the reason why is one of the mods I've got locks vehicles. So if you look down just underneath the fuel gauge on the right hand side there, you can see a red circle through that white shape. If you press left control and T, that red circle disappears, and then you can tab into the vehicle. So it's called locking the vehicles, but you can actually still drive them when they're locked. What that does, it means that you can't tab into them if they're locked. So what I generally do is I unlock the vehicles I'm using. So like if I'm using, let's say, a tractor to load bales onto a truck, and the truck that's having the bales loaded on, I'll just unlock those two vehicles and leave everything else locked, and that way if I hit tab, it just tabs between those two vehicles and that's all. Okay, and I think if you go shift left control T when you're not in any vehicle, it unlocks everything on the whole farm, all the vehicles. Okay, so you'll find all my animal feeding equipment there, and all my grass mowing equipment in here. Along here we have, I used to have a water tap there, I got rid of it after I got rid of the greenhouses. The fuel tanks there, I still 900 odd litres in there. Inside this door here is where you can dump both straw and TMR. Okay. This is where you feed the chickens. I hand feed my chickens. I'll show you where you get it from. Now the reason I hand feed them is if you try throwing a bag of chicken feed in the back of this four-wheeler, it actually empties it out into the four-wheeler. Now the four-wheeler's got a tipper on it, so it doesn't really matter, it's not the end of the world, but what I do instead is I just come around to here and I pick up one of these by hand, carry it around to where that chicken feed was, and dump it in there. The other thing I'll probably do here, which Fury can do if he wants to, he doesn't have to, is I'll grab another, because this farm doesn't have any auto load trailers, trucks or barns either, so I'm going to grab a second pallet of wrap in a different colour, and then I'll change what colour wrap I use year on year. Now, there's only 2 tractors on this farm, and they're both small. So this is the big tractor here, and it's pretty tiny, that tractor. I can't remember how many horses it is, I'm sorry, but it's tiny. So there's only 2 tractors at the moment, and they're both small. When we come around here, right on the other side of this fence here, is where I stack bales. After I've wrapped new bales, and they're beginning to ferment to turn into silage, I put them all here. And what you can do if you want to, if you're in this, only if you want to, because you run the farm the way you want it. Okay, I'm certainly not telling you this is what you must do. I'm just telling you what I do. So I go in under construction here, and under the fences, where do I find fences now? The decoration fences, right the way along here. I think it's right at the end from memory. No, sorry, it's not, because all the walls are at the end. Just before the end, here, you've got electric fences. I think they're the old, I think they're called pigtail fences, and they're normally electric. So what I do is I start there and make a big area around here that I fence off with the electric fence to stop the cows in the paddock getting into those bales when I've got them stacked there. And so as you can see, I've got cows in this paddock. Normally I stack bales in a paddock that doesn't have cows in. I just don't have the space on this farm, so I stack them here, and then I put an electric fence around them. Now, just out of interest's sake, if I go in here and go animals, it's under pasture extension here. So first grab one here for a second. Now, so as you can see, none of the animals will only walk where there's blue boxes. They won't walk everywhere in the paddock because you don't see the blue boxes. You know, it looks like they're walking freely anywhere in the whole paddock, but in reality they should only walk where the blue boxes are. Okay, so the blue boxes stop well before this fence. So if you don't put an electric fence around the bales, you'll never actually get a cow walk into that area where the bales are anyway. This is the closest they'd ever get to where that corner there. But because obviously you don't see the blue boxes, like that, okay, I put the electric fences around the bales after I put the bales there, just for realism's sake, to make it look more real. Okay, now, and you'll find that if you follow this track down, you go into, I've got 5 paddocks of cows here. You'll find them no trouble whatsoever. In fact, you can see them on the map here. Paddock 30 I split in 2, so it's now 2 paddocks. So 2 paddocks in 30, 1 in 21, 1 in 22, and the barn. So that's 5 altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 including the barn. So I think from memory I've got 75 cows on this paddock, and that's why I'm about to have 75 calves. I've done as I said, this map is very, very close to standard. My other 2 I've done a lot more work on. What I did do is I removed a shed from here, and that's why there's no snow in this bit here, because the game's still recognising a shed there. I used the object hider to hide it, and I put this wall in here because I just didn't like the shed that was there, so I got rid of it. And it looks maybe a wee bit odd when it snows like that, because it won't snow where it thinks there's a shed, but it looks just absolutely fine all the rest of the time. And of course I put in that old homestead across the road, the ruins of the old homestead, and that's pretty much on. I turned that paddock 30 into 2 paddocks and put cows into a lot of paddocks. I think when I downloaded the map, the only place for the cows was in that milking shed, and that's all. There's no outdoor paddocks of cows. So yeah, that's the changes I've done. And as I said, what I'm going to be doing eventually is buying, I'll just go back to the map here for a second, buying the house here, and paddock 14 will be my next purchases to extend the farm. Because if I press X for a second, you can see how tiny the farm is. And it's a small back, but even when you look at the whole map, I own hardly anything there. So yeah, paddock 14 will be the next extension. As I said, I used to own paddock 33 here, and I sold it again. I'd also possibly buy some of these paddocks down on the waterfront at some point. Um, but that's what I'm doing with the farm. But I'm actually more interested to see what Fury's going to do with the farm. Because as I said, I haven't asked him what he's doing with it. He's free to do whatever he wants with it. The version I sent to him, which is this exact version, but he's free to do whatever he wants with that now. He could turn the whole thing into forestry if he wanted to. I certainly won't be doing that with mine, but he's welcome to if that's what his desire is. He certainly doesn't have to keep it as a dairy farm if he doesn't want to, given that his other story, the other map there's working on, the other story there's working on is a dairy farm. He may want to do something completely different with this one rather than have two dairy farms going on. But yeah, I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see what Fury does with this map compared to what I do with it, and just see how two people that start with exactly the same equipment on exactly the same farm can end up in completely different places over time. I think that's going to be really interesting. So good luck with this map, Fury. Hope you enjoy it for at least a few episodes before it bores you. And if anyone else wants either this or Belly Spring, my version of Belly Spring with all the equipment I have and the changes I've made to the map, just yell out and I'll send them to you. I'd also be happy to send you Ballincraig if you want, but I doubt you would want, as I said, because there's a lot of problems with that Ballincraig map. I keep it because I love it so much, but if it was any other map I would have given up on it a long time ago, just because of all the problems it throws up at you. But because I love it so much, I'm willing to persevere. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video and seen, what's what. As I said, I'm going to be throwing this map back into Overdraft again, and I'll probably do some more playing on this one as well as my others, just so you can see how Fury and I both do it so differently and end up in completely different places, probably completely different financial positions as a result. If Fury wants to start in exactly the same financial position as I'm in, I'll make a call on it right now. I'm going to throw this map back into 200,000 overdraft. So I'll keep the cash exactly what it is now, 9,321. I'm going to put the overdraft at 200,000. So if you want to, Fury, you can go into the XML and change the overdraft to 200k, and then we'll both be starting on exactly the same financial footing, and just see. I'm going to guess that you're going to make money a lot quicker than I will, because the things you're likely to do to the map will make a lot more money than the things that I'm going to do to it. But it would just be interesting to see how different people play it in different ways. And that's all from me now, so thank you very much for watching. Bye.